Okay. So that is how you remember that. After that, there is also another model which says that it is Porter's five forces model. Porter's five forces model. We know what is Porter's five forces model, which talks about um, there are five forces. There's a threat of new entrants, then the competition among the rivals, the power of suppliers and buyers, and the threat of substitutes. So we should understand that these are the four factors which result in change. So because of these things, um, they have to deal with change in an organization. So what are the items which are covered under each of them? Just remember them. It is kind of going back in the syllabus, trying to understand what is there in each of these topics. This is recollection of already learned content. Okay. Then the internal aspect, if we are focusing on the triggers internally, one is the philosophy, reorganization, personnel, conditions, and technology. Internally, what is the philosophy? Philosophy of the management, the top level management. How serious are they about implementing change? It could be theoretically they may figure it out that there is they would want to implement change in the organization, but they may not be actually serious about that. So, um, for the sake of uh, I mean. Including changes for the organization, implementing new things for the organization. Theoretically, they may be very particular about that in writing. But then when it actually comes to implement it, they may not be serious about that. So the attitude of the top management, the philosophy of the organization and the members of the organization, how serious are they towards implementing change is what has to be taken into consideration. And in terms of reorganization, then we have to understand what is required for them to reorganize. So that reorganization part of it. So a reorganization, maybe they have to think about how can they go for reorganization. Maybe by acquiring something. We've learned about acquisitions. What does acquisition result in? Acquisition results in growing at a fast pace. So maybe they should think about starting joint ventures, strategic alliances, a reorganization in terms of taking over something, acquisition, mergers, coming together with others, joint ventures, and all these things. Um, Also result in change, because everything has to be reorganized. Otherwise, it was earlier it was a simple organization with only one entity, but then now it is um, arranging everything according to the changes which they adopt. Now, if the top management is serious about implementing a change, then that will take place. That implementation part of it comes into picture. Once the implementation comes into picture, then in that case, then they have to think about how do they arrange it. Organization part is important. Then the people, who are the people, the personnel. Okay, the people, the personnel, um, how are they evaluated, how are they appraised, what other measures are taken care to develop their skills, skill development. Okay. Skill development, what is the training facilities which are provided to them, what are the principles guiding, principles, rules, regulation laid down for the employees, personnel of the organization. Then we have the next one, we have it as conditions. Conditions we talk about what is the work environment? Basically, we talk about what is the work environment in the organization. Do they have flexibility in terms of working in the organization? Um, if there are multiple branches which are there for the organization, are they given the facility of working in other entities? Normally, we see that which is convenient to work for them from their close to their homes and all. So that flexibility. Of late, though, now we can talk about working from home is another option which they would have prefer. Okay, flexible works, and then um, are they allowed to change the location of the office? Okay, those things are there. Then finally, the technology aspect of it talks about the what technology do they adopt it? How advanced are they in terms of adopting the technology? Do they implement changes in that? Do they have systems wherein they can um, integrate the information whatever is required? So those are the internal factors. So what are the triggers for change? We have to look at what are the external factors and what are the internal factors. Since we've already learned all of them under some head or the other, maybe balance scorecard was talking about the internal business process, the employees part of it. Those things are internal factors. So when it was talking about those things, then we've learned about it. It is not that something it is new. External factors also we've learned about in terms of the pest analysis and the focus 5 courses. We've learned about those things also. Okay. Uh, the next topic for us now is there is a model which is given by Lewin, Hope, and Haley. Um, this is about types of change. Now, when we are talking about change happening in an organization, what triggers the change? What are the ways in which they should consider a change happening in the organization? When they're talking about that, what are the types of changes which can happen? Okay, change could be gradual, change could be slow, change could be incremental, change could be drastic. We've learned about business. Did I teach you business process reengineering? Did I teach you business process reengineering? No, I don't think we've done the business process reengineering. Did we? What happened? No one's responding. Am I not audible? Am I audible? Okay. Did we do business process reengineering earlier? Business process reengineering. Okay, no problem. The topic what we are doing now here is types of changes. Types of changes talks about um, what are the ways in which change can take place. So this is again given in the form of a matrix. Okay, okay. Here we didn't do. Okay. Um, But otherwise, you have an idea about what is BPR, business process reengineering. Business process reengineering talks about bringing in change on a radical basis. That is, instead of going for incremental change, it is thinking about revamping everything, and then radical steps are taken. Radical thinking is involved, and steps are taken on a radical basis. So I just wanted to recollect that part of it. If we haven't done, fine. When we're talking about what are the types of changes, we see horizontally, we see that what is the extent of change. The extent of change is mentioned in terms of transformation and then realignment. Vertically, we see that what is the speed of change. The speed of change is given as incremental and big bang. So incremental talks about the change which happens at a slow pace, incremental, step by step, one step after another one is the pattern which is followed in case if it is incremental. Incremental is one thing is over, another thing. So one after the other changes are taking place. That is incremental pattern. But if it is a big bang, then the change is kind of um, maybe we can call it as radical, high speed or something like that. Okay, we can put it as major radical changes take place because there is radical thinking involved in this. Fast pace of change. The speed of change is quite fast or radical. Um, then when we talk about extent of change is transformation and realignment. Transformation and realignment. Realignment is making major changes which happens at a large scale, or let's put it as on a large scale the changes take place. Transformation is the scope of it is limited. Whatever is the existing scenario, that is transformed or it is changed into another way. So the scope for the extent of change under the first category, transformation, is limited. The scope is limited. But whereas in case of realignment, the scope is large. It takes major changes into consideration, and the change happens. But then if it is speed of change, incremental is slow and big bang happens at a fast pace. So that is what we have to consider. So considering that, what do we have under each of these matrices is what we have to look into. So if it is slow and incremental, uh, the change is it's in the evolution form or a transformational change implemented gradually through interrelated activities, because it's slow, it goes slow, and it is not covering a large portion of the organization. The scope is limited. Therefore, it is evolution. Evolution, so it grows, change, makes changes to itself one step after the other. So that's in the evolution phase. But then if we are talking about the speed of change, but it takes into consideration the entire organization or the scope is quite large, then they might have adapted to the situation, right? Because the major, the changes involve a major part of the organization. So change undertaken to realign the way in which the organization operates, it adapts itself to the slow and gradual pace of changes which have taken place over a period of time, right? So the extent of change which had happened enables it to adapt to the changed environment, right? Then if there is radical change, if there is fast paced change, but the scope is only applicable only for a particular portion of the organization or a particular part of the organization, it is revolution, which says that it is transformational change that occurs via simultaneous initiatives on many fronts, right? There are there are fast paced changes, but it is not applicable to the entire organization. So it says the transformational change that occurs via simultaneous initiatives on many fronts. Simultaneous initiatives on many fronts. Then it says more likely to be forced and reactive because of changing conditions that the organization is facing. So it is kind of imposed on them, forced and reactive, more likely to be forced and reactive because of the changing conditions. Maybe because the market is changing, because there are so many technological changes which have happened in the market that they are forced to adopt them. So more likely to be forced and reactive because of changing conditions that the organization is facing. So it is, since it is facing these changes, therefore it is forced to follow those things. So that's transformation. Then we have realignment and radical changes, major changes. Then it is a reconstruction. So reconstruction, change undertaken to realign the way in which the organization operates with many initiatives, because the scope is large. There are the entire organization is taken into consideration, since the scope is large and there are fast changes or fast paced changes which are happening. So in which the organization operates with many initiatives implemented simultaneously. This is often forced and reactive because of changing competitive context. There is no other way, because the if they do not adopt to those changes, they become outdated. So in that case, it is only, they can survive only if they are adopting to these changes. If they do not, then in that case they may become outdated. They may also have to face failure. They may become insolvent. They cannot go on par with the um, uh, other competitors in the market. So if it is a fast-paced change and it implies the entire organization, then in that case we see that it is reconstruction applicable for the entire organization. Mostly it is forced and reactive. Let's do the next topic. What's the cultural web? Just a minute. Okay, let's do the next topic, the cultural web. Existing culture can become embedded. What is the cultural web? What are the changes which generally take place? Okay, um, here in this case, the organization, when it has certain aspects. Now, what are the things which enable them to change? What is they have to understand that what is going on in the organization, what has to be changed. All those things have to be considered here. What is suitable for their organization, what is working in their organization, what can be left it like that, or what has to be changed. Those things have to be considered. So the cultural web, we talk about what is the existing culture in the organization, what is there at present, if there are any changes which need to be made. Now, the major change all the organizations which have adopted during this crisis movement is that they have provided this facility of working from home. So that is one aspect of it, wherein their routine was to ask the employees to come to the organization, log into the systems, or I mean, swipe their card against the system and all the other thing. And um, that was the routine which was followed in the organization. But then now, because of this, it is it was so difficult for them to even have the physical presence there in the organization office. So therefore, they have enabled the employees to work from home. So that is one feature which we have to consider, isn't it? So what is the scenario now? Can they continue working in the present style or present structure, is what they have to understand. If it is not possible, then in that case, what changes should be made in the organization? So it is not only about one aspect of it, one routine. There are so many things which have to be considered about, starting from the stories and myths. So the background work has to be understood. So when we look at what actually happened, who are the promoters, what happened, who are the people who were there in the initiators, and then what happened in the past, at the time of establishing. Then they talk about in that year, in so and so year, this is what has happened. Therefore, they have started things like that. So all that is a part of the stories and the myths. So the So what actually happened in the organization at the beginning has to be taken into consideration, the stories and myths. Then it talks about um, I mean, the stories and myths talks about the people who are involved, what actually happened, how did they start in the year of inception, what happened, and then how did they start? They started with a group of people, few people. Now that is how and they narrate that the history, the past of it, the starting of the organization. Those aspects are expressed in terms of these stories, and certain other certain things also, assumptions also, myths, what we call them as. Uh, uh, those things talk about the organization culture. Then they talk about the symbols which they use. What could be symbols about starting with what is their logo, what is their caption. I mean, how do they express what is their objective, or what is their strategy in the form of a logo or caption, or the advertising what they take, or coming to the arrangement in the organization. There are certain things which they follow. Then the some of the organizations even have the dress code, some of them do not have the dress code. So the color of that dress indicates that yes, these people belong to this organization. Some of them still have the dress code applicable for them, the uniform kind of thing. Then uh, and some of them are even particular about the way they have to have the dresses in the organization. So men are expected to come in formal dress only one day in a week. They are allowed to wear t-shirts. Of course, some of the organizations do not have all those particular things, and the women are expected to wear formal dresses. And then maybe some concession would be given, but then there are certain things which are expected of the employees to follow, right? So what are the symbols which they follow? What do these symbols convey? Okay, about the organization. So sometimes when they start about the organization adopting a particular thing, if they feel that it is not needed, they even go for changing. So earlier certain organizations were very particular that no t-shirts would be worn during the weekdays, but later on that was because when they interact with the clients should get a feel that yes, it is a formal work environment. But later on that we see that they were relaxed on those things, and then people were allowed to wear t-shirts to the office, and those things, those changes also. So what symbols do they adopt, and what do they convey? What do they convey is what is but if they feel that that is not needed of them to follow that, changes are made to that as well. Okay, then we have the next part of it, which is the power structure. The power structure talks about power, people with power who have the power to take decisions. So who are those key employees in the organization who hold the power? Okay, the executives, the CEO, the other executives, key employees, senior top level management, key employees, or those with the decision making capacity, um, the various departments who can take decisions, the managers. Okay, what is the power structure? Who has the authority? Who can take a decision? So it talks about what is the power structure. Then we have the organizational structure. Organization structure. Um, the hierarchy of the organization, or the organizational chart, what we call, who's there on the top. Then as it comes down, what are the other levels of management? So the organization structure in the form of a hierarchy, so from top to bottom, either presented in a pyramid form, or I mean chart form, wherein it is split into various divisions, departments, okay, those things. So the organization structure, and what is their role at the top level management? What is their role? What do they contribute to the organization? Those things are focused there in the organizational structure. See what is that they contribute to the organization, and then mm, their role, how is it valued, their contribution, their work, how do they contribute, and how what is valued in the organization. All that has to be taken into consideration under organizational structure. And then when we come to what is the control system. Control system involves um, uh, the control mechanism which is adopted. This is um, we've learned about no, not you. So when an organization has a control system, what does it indicate? It indicates that they follow the rules and regulations. They report their financial statements in such a way that there is no misrepresentation, misleading information is not included. So that's one thing which they convey. They also convey that they also ensure that there is efficiency and effectiveness in the business operations. So they focus on the quality aspect of it. They focus on having effective efficiency in their activities. So they want to be effective in their performance. So um, having cost control, having the efficiency aspect of it, they focus on the quality aspect of it. They see that there is less amount of wastage which is incurred. So whatever is the input, it comes out as the output, or what is the matching of input versus output, focuses on the efficiency part of it. Then somehow to motivate the employees, but then how do they get more how do the employees get motivated? So maybe there is some kind of appraisal system where the rewards can be given. So in that case, they get motivated. So control mechanism talks about comparing the actual with the standards. So standards are laid down, then standards are taken into consideration, the actuals are compared with the standards. So that is in a way evaluating the performance, appraising the performance of the employees. When the employees are under observation, their performance is evaluated, then they are appraised or they are rewarded. In that way, that works as a control mechanism. So that works as a control system. So they are motivated to work better. And then um, it can have a control on the employees of the organization. So it covers all the aspects, that is financial aspect, the financial statements for how they are prepared, how the internal business process is taken care of it. Do they think of controlling the wastages, controlling the cost, and work towards quality of products, and then ultimately become efficient. Then it also considers the employees part of it. Is the performance of the actual performance of the employees compared with the standard performance? Those aspects also are taken into consideration. So there is a control system. Then it talks about the routines and rituals. Routines and rituals, day in and day out, what is that they follow? The routines and rituals, how do they attend to their day to day activities? What routines do they follow? What is their behavior at the organization? Then do they perform what is expected of them? So what is expected versus what actually is the outcome, those things are compared. So routines and rituals are compared. Then some of the organizations are very rigid about employees logging in at the right time. Some of them provide a facility of see, if they log in late, they have to log out late, or some facility. So what is most important for them? Is discipline most important for them? Timely completion of the task is important. So what are their regular routines, and then what is the importance given to each activity? Is a part of the routines and rituals. So this is a cultural web. So now, first, when we analyze what is their existing cultural web, then it gives them a chance to understand about whether the existing system is fine. They can go with that, or they have to make some changes to the existing system. Some things have to be changed. Is what has to be understood. Okay, if they need to make some changes and all, that has to be understood by them. This is another model which is given by McKinsey. It's called as McKinsey's 7S model. McKinsey's 7S model is split into two parts. It's split into two parts. The first three form one group. The next four form into another group. Fine. There are 7S in an organization. These out of these 7S, the first three, uh, the structure, systems, and strategy are called as hard factors. The rest of them are called as soft factors. Now, the first three, the strategy, systems, and structure, talk about the or at an organizational level. What are these three factors? The remaining four factors talk at the employee level. So the staff at that level. What are these four S is what we have to understand. So McKinsey 7S model describes the entire organization in the form of 7S. So the first S talks about what is the strategy. What is the strategy of the organization? Strategy of the organization. What do we understand? What is strategy? Strategy is the long-term goal or plan which has to be achieved. This is the first one. The strategy talks about the long term plan. What is that they want to achieve over a period of time. So the long term plan is defined in the way of strategy. And then what is the system in the organization, and what is the structure? The systems which they follow in the organization, are they dependent on men, or are they dependent on automation, the computerization? People or systems is what it focuses on. What is the system? Is it a uh, simple way the activities are carried on with the help of people, or they go in for complex activities with the help of systems and computers, automation and all talks about systems? What is the structure? Structure talks about it is a too many activities. It's a simple procedure which is followed. It's a simple structure wherein not many activities are there, and then the work is carried on in a smooth fashion. Not much of supervision is needed. The top management can take care of the activities. So it's a simple structure, or it could be a complex structure with many activities and many activities involved in the organization. So the structure either could be simple or more complex. So that talks about the organizational level. What is the organization? What is the strategy of the organization? Is the structure simple or complex? And what are the systems which they follow? Do they depend too much on the manpower, the employees, or they depend on uh, the automation or the systems and the computers in the organization? So that's at the organization level. Then, when we come to the next four, which are soft factors, they include the staff. So, the staff, the personnel, the employees, who are they? How many of them are there? When they joined, how many of them? When the organization started, how many of them were there? And then after that, how did they grow? Those things form a part of staff. The employees, who are they, is what is considered under staff. Then what are the skills, the skill set which they possess? How qualified are they? What is the um, what qualification do they have? What skills do they have? What certifications do they have? What are the special skill set which they possess? Is considered under skills. Fine. What is the style of operation? What are the shared values? The shared values is maybe they give importance to the way they perform in the organization. Like they are self-motivated. They prefer to work in teams. They take the ownership of the strategy. They work on their own and they achieve their objectives. Or they require someone to supervise them, assign the work, allot the work, and then monitor their work, is under shared values. Then what is the style of operation? Style of operation could be they can work in a free environment, or they require that control from the top management to be monitored all the while, and only then they can perform. So that is either an authoritarian style or a free style of operation is existing in the organization. Is about the style of the employees, or style of working of the employees in an organization. So the first three talks of considers the entire organization as a whole. The other three talk about um, who are the employees, and um, what are the skill set, and what are the shared values and the style of operation for them. Do they work in a democratic environment wherein no need of any supervision, they themselves can take up the work and then perform the activities, or they require some supervision and monitoring all the while. So this is what is explained, given by McKinsey's 7S model. So remember that the first three are into one category, and the next four are into one category. Whenever there is change, we also have to discuss about what is the resistance from for the change. Change is not always welcomed by everyone, adopted by everyone, but rather change is resisted, because many do not like to adopt to the changing environment, accept the change in their life. So therefore, what are the reasons for resisting change is the next topic what we have to look into. The first one is, what are the job factors? The job factors is fear of technological unemployment. So um, the minute it goes for a change, and it may be found that what work they were doing is no longer required, because the machines can perform that their work in much lesser time. In that case, their role is not needed in the organization. So fear of technological unemployment, when they are not required, their services are no longer required, they fear that they will be replaced with machines, and they will have to face the technological unemployment. That is one major reason. That's the job factor. Then fear of changes to working condition also. Until now what they were used to, now that no longer will exist in the organization. So there is a fear of working conditions. So they will have to adopt to a new environment. So whatever environment to which they were accustomed and they're comfortable with, that would change after a change is installed in the organization. Fear of demotion or reduced pay. So if they are not needed for that long hours, or someone else is doing that work much efficiently, the machines are doing, the automation is performing the same work, maybe if they are not needed, then they may also fear that they would be demoted, or they will have a lesser amount of pay. This all happens in case of automation, unless and until their services are, unless and until their services are required, if not in that unit or in some other unit of the organization, they always fear that they will be removed from their job, or they get less amount of wage, or their working conditions would change, they are required to adopt certain other things. So that those are related to job factors, that there is resistance to change. Now this happens in almost all the organizations. Whenever a new system has to be adopted, there, the first thing is, there is resistance from the employees. Okay. Then what are the personal factors? The personal factors talk about implied criticism of current working method, feel less valued, and work becomes more monotonous. Right. um, at the personal front, they feel that there would be criticism of current working method. So then they say, see what was done, now we are doing it so quickly. And that is the comment which will happen because of radical changes taking place, automation, computerization. So then what do they focus on? They focus on finishing the work on a faster pace. So then there would be the comparison of what was done and then what is. So normally when we take up case studies and all, then there would be a comparison about what is the present work, how many people are involved, and then how can that be replaced with the help of automation or machines or systems. So then they fear that all this while whatever work they were doing, that becomes um, useless, and then it is counted as waste of time and money. So that is a fear they would face. So if 10 people were doing the same piece of work, if with the help of with the help of machines, it can be done within an hour or within one day. What they were taking for 10 days, it can be done in one day. So there, that comparison is obvious. So on that note, if their work is compared, then they may feel demotivated. So implied criticism of current working method is one reason. So maybe all this while what they have valued it as a very valuable, their contribution, if they were considering it as very valuable to the organization, now can become a wasteful activity with involving time and money. So on account of that, if they are criticized, they would not like it. So therefore also they may resist the change. Okay, they feel less valued, or they work becomes more monotonous. So um, people, suppose in the organization, if it was till then, if it was manual work, or it requires special skills and all. So with the introduction of machines, systems, then if the work becomes monotonous. Otherwise, till then, because it involved manpower, their skill was given, their craftsmanship was given more importance. The way they involved intricate work, all that was valued, that is prized, that was valued a lot. But then with the help of automation, then they see that everything is done in a monotonous manner. There is no requirement of that craftsmanship or skills, or intricate work which is involved. So they feel little demotivated. See, there was a time when the textiles were woven, the clothes were woven with the handloom kind of thing. So the people used to exhibit their skills in the design pattern, all those things. Later on, after the automation, now the machines do that. So there is nothing, the nothing which has to be required in terms of their skill. It is all automation. Embroidery earlier was uh, done by people. Their design, the colors which they have used in the threads and all, the way they would do the embroidery work. Later on, embroidery also become automated. So the computer, the design is feeded into the computer, and the computer design is done on the clothes, and then the embroidery is done. So there is no requirement of any art or skill or craftsmanship is not needed. It is all monotonous. They just have to feed whatever is needed, and the output comes out. So on that level also, they feel monotonous. Okay, some of them prefer to do it by themselves, every activity. Some of them prefer to acquire it through outsourcing. So there is a difference in this. So the way, if they give a lot of importance to that personal factor, their involvement, their craftsmanship, then for them, it would be demotivating, because everything would be done mechanically, monotonous, right? What are the social factors for resistance of change? Social factors for resistance of change. We see there is dislike, need to break up current social environment, personal dislike of people implementing change, lack of consultation leading to rejection of change. Okay, the resistance for change and the social factors. Dislike need to break up current social environment. Okay, because of the current social environment, there could be some kind of dislike for that. Okay, maybe they feel that it is too advanced to adopt a change, it is not suitable, or something like that. So that could be one reason why there is a resistance for change. Then we have personal dislike of people implementing change. So um, maybe they still do not get adjusted to the concept of having a change in the organization. The personal dislike of people implementing change is also another reason. Then they do not consult, lack of consultation leading to rejection of change. They do not take the opinion of other people, and lack of consultation. So they do not inquire about it, and then they have this resistance towards change. But if two or three people come giving an opinion about what are the advantages or what are the usefulness of change, then maybe that acceptance comes in gradually. But then if they are reluctant to change, then they have not consulted anyone, because the social environment, the change was not adopted, people still are not aware of that, then there is a lot of resistance. Initially, people were very reluctant to go for digitalization, the transaction to take place um, on a digital platform, that is commerce on commerce taking place through internet, e-commerce, then payments also through. Now we see that those facilities are there with even the small vendors also. See, the earlier there were transactions which were not accepting these digital modes of payment. So cards were not accepted. Some of the shops, they would refuse the debit credit cards to be swiped in their organism. Later on, when it was imposed on them, maybe or told about what are the advantages or made it mandatory for them, then they slowly started accepting that. So the social environment also has this kind of um, resistance, um, resulting in a resistance, because it's not still accepted in the social environment. Therefore, they do not accept it. So before this demonetization and all, the small vendors outrightly they refused accepting any digital money. But now we see that even a small vendor, like even at a pani puri fellow also having a Paytm sign which is hung there on the cart. Then we see the payments made to the for the conveyance through Paytm or Google Pay or things like that. So the if it is accepted in the social environment, then it is fine. But otherwise, there is a kind of resistance which comes up. And then if somebody keeps on talking about the advantages of change and what benefits we can derive, then then they agree to that. So that consultation, if it is not there, if they do not inquire of what are the benefits of this change, then also there can be resistance for change. It's a general answer which we understand. There is nothing technical about it. What are the reasons or for resistance to change? Now there is a model which is given by Kotter and Schlesinger. What are the reasons of resisting change? Also is given by them. Okay, according to Kotter and Schlesinger, there are four reasons that explain why certain people resist change. Why? Um, The first one talks about parochial self-interest. Okay, then the next one is about misunderstanding. Then we have a low tolerance to change, and different assessments of the situation. Parochial self-interest, some people are concerned with the implications of change for themselves and how it may affect their own interest rather than considering the effects of the success of the business. So it's on a personal front. Okay, personal front, maybe their work will not be valued, or there would be a comparison. So they are more focused on their personal interest, their own self interest. So if there is automation or if there is a change, then it benefits the organization is not their goal. How much will it affect them as individuals is what they are focused on. Self interest is the criteria here. Parochial self-interest. So they are concerned with the implications of change for themselves and how it affects their lives. They rather than considering the effects of for the success of the business. Okay, that's one reason. Second one is misunderstanding. They do not understand the benefits which are associated with the change. So that is misunderstanding. Either communication problem or inadequate information. They do not have the information with them. Low tolerance to change. Okay, some of them do not change. There is great resistance with such people. So they are low The tolerance to change is quite low, low tolerance to change. Certain people are very keen on security and stability in their work. Then different assessments of the situation. Some employees may disagree on the reasons for the change and on the advantages and disadvantages of the change. Okay. The reasons for change is not agreed. Different assessments of the situation. They assess it in a different way, right? Um, the next part of it all, we will, after we finish the MCQs, we'll come back to this, because too many theories in the same class is also not advisable. Let's go to the revision kit. The last question which we have done in the previous class was number. We were doing, it was still one. We've done 152, but there was in between one question we've left. Are you there with me? No response at all. What was the last question which we've done? The strength is less today. One 149 we need to do. Okay, done. Let's see. What's question number 149? 150, 151, 152. Did we do those three? Okay, 149. OPU has recently decided to create a new staff performance measurement system. Previously, OPPO staff were only paid a basic salary regardless of performance. The new system will involve monitoring a range of employee performance issues such as total work hours, errors made by each employee, and absenteeism. This will form the basis of a bonus that each employee can earn each year. Oppo's human resource manager has suggested that before Oppo launches its new system, it should be discussed with employees and feedback sought. Which of the following would be benefits to Oppo of following the HRM suggestion? Select all that apply. Select all that apply. A. Improved understanding of what the employees need to do to meet their targets. Oppo can ensure that targets are seen as achievable by its staff. Reduced chance that Oppo staff will behave unethically to achieve the new targets. Increased employee buy-in into the new system, improving motivation. Yes. There is no guarantee that employees can assure about ethical behavior. Unethical, it is their the shared values what they have, what is their integrity, that is included. So then we cannot feel assured about their ethical behavior. So that's not an advantage. Yes, A, B, and D can go with this answer. A, B, and D. Others, please respond. The next question, 150. Okay. If you're comfortable, I'll erase this and then go to the next one. 150. Jay is a manager at a firm of surveyors. Currently, his staff perform an average of 5 hours, 5 house service per day, and this has left the business with a sizable backlog of service to undertake. Jay wishes to raise this to 8 per day. While he is not offering staff a bonus for achieving this new level of performance, he's sure that as it will benefit the business, they will happily accept the new targets. Jay has announced the new targets to his staff, who were surprised as Jay had not previously consulted them about this issue. Though most employees stated privately that they could reach the new targets if they hurried through each of their surveys. Which two of the following problems is Jay most likely to face with the stretch targets he has set? No responses. What happened? You're not responding for any of these things. Which one is right? Okay, reading again. Good. See? A, B, not too sure. A is not correct because they could, most employees stated privately that they could reach the new targets. So it is about achievability, isn't it? Staff see that the target is unachievable and are demotivated by them. So this is not the reason. So rule of A. Then comes B. The new targets lead to suboptimal behavior by staff. Why? Why? Why suboptimal behavior? So Jay has announced the new targets to staff who was surprised that Jay had not previously consulted them about this issues. One thing. Then there were no, not offering staff a bonus for achieving this new level of performance. So that's a demotivating factor. So we can go with B. Then C. Staff will feel no motivation to work towards the stretch target. Okay. Standards might not be achieved. Yes, standards might not be achieved. Feel demotivated because there is no compensation. That is, there is no bonus for that extra work which they do. Stretch targets are being set for staff in an area that will not benefit the business. That is also not right. They are just increasing the target. That is, the business will get benefited, but the benefit is not shared with the employees. So we go with B and C. 151. 151 talks about the International Integrated Reporting Council has produced an integrated reporting framework which sets out 7 guiding principles that have to be considered when preparing an integrated report. Which of the following is contained within the 7 guiding principles? Select all that apply. All. Just look at that once. Strategic focus and orientation, connectivity of information, stakeholder relationship, materiality, conciseness, reliability and completeness, consistency and comparability. So all. That's right. All. So we go with all of them. All are correct. We finished 152. Now let's continue with the change management topic. Change. Okay. Sorry, I got disconnected. I'm back. Okay. Question number 153. We have P Limited operates a chain of training shops across F country F. PL has recently undertaken a detailed analysis of external triggers for change. It has identified the following: A. Increased government health and safety legislation relating to training stores. Okay, now see where do these things fit. We have indirect triggers and direct triggers. So what come under indirect and what come under direct? You have to mention. A is indirect. Increased government health and safety legislation relating to training stores. B is also indirect. Recession within a country of leading to a fall in consumer disposable income. That is also indirect. So here we have A, then we have B. Now C, TYS, a new training company, is offering training to customers at heavy discounts. C is direct. TYS, a new training company, is offering training to customers at heavy discounts. So it's only applicable to PI. So here we have C. WAM, suppliers of sun beds in country F has closed, leaving only one company offering the training beds that PI uses in its stores. Others, please respond. All of you, please respond. Continue, Monica. D is TYS, no, sorry. WAM, suppliers of sunbeds. So D is direct. So because the suppliers are less and suppliers, only one supplier is remaining that provides tanning beds that PI uses in its stores. So it is affecting only PI. Then E comes, training has started to be seen as unfashionable by consumers in country F. So it is a wider scope. So E should go under indirect. The following diagram shows Balogun Hope Haley's model of organization change. X has identified that the change occurring within her organization would be classified as adaptation. So maybe we can look at the model once, and then evolution is the first quadrant, adaptation is the second one, revolution in the third, and restructure in the fourth. Just memorize this concept and this matrix. Evolution is the first one. Both of them are slow and considering only a part of the organization. The entire organization, but incremental changes, they get adapted to the changed environment. Revolution is they make major changes at fast growth, involving a lot of risk and all. But the entire organization not included, so that's called as revolution. Reconstruction is the entire organization at a rapid pace, they make changes. So adaptation falls into which quadrant? Two. So here quadrant 2 is adaptation. MMMGmbH is a large multinational conglomerate based in Europe which manufactures tinned goods. It has recently been acquired by OOO plc, a UK-based food manufacturer. While the two organizations have fundamentally different cultures and work practices, OOO management are determined that MMM as an organization is aligned with OOO quickly, and that all managerial practices conform to the OOO way of doing things. Select which one of the following classifications of change MMM's employees are most likely to believe this change process represents. Can we talk about evolution and adaptation? Adaptation for this one. Is the change slow? No. So maybe we can rule out A 1 and 2. So considering C and D, revolution or reconstruction. So which one should we go with? Is it revolution or reconstruction? The scope of it has to be focused on. If the scope is large, it is reconstruction. If the scope is low, it is revolution. I mean, it is limited to only one particular activity or something, or one unit. The scope is less. Then we see that um, the change part of it is it's not incremental, but it is high, because there is what has happened is a large multinational conglomerate based in Europe which manufactures tin goods it has recently been acquired by some other thing. So there is a change is there, that is fine, but it is only, what is a conglomerate? So it talks about merger of diverse products. So a multinational conglomerate based in Europe which manufactures tin goods. This was acquired by OO plc, a UK-based food manufacturer. Fine. So Would the entire thing be merged, or only the tinned goods? They are into many things, conglomerate, no? They are into many things, manufacturing of many things, but they were acquired by a UK food base. So UK food based food manufacturer will be focusing on acquiring or merging with the tinned goods. So only one unit. It is not the entire unit. So they are imposing their work. They have fundamentally different cultures and work practices, and OO management determined that as an organization is aligned with that. So they are only focusing on alignment of the tin goods with their food manufacture business. But because this is a conglomerate, it is into multiple products or diversified products. The entire organization is not going with that. Therefore, we go with revolution. Very intricately you have to identify, but otherwise we understand that the entire organization. But under that organization, a large multinational conglomerate based in Europe, only that one is merged with OOO. So OO has acquired um, this particular unit of manufacturing tinned goods. So it is C, not D. AVV is a charity which provides education for underprivileged children in country B. A recent change in government has led to new legislation. Now, what's the meaning of conglomerate? Are you aware of what is a conglomerate? Let's see what's the meaning of conglomerate. A thing consisting of number of different and distinct parts of items that are grouped together. So, okay, did you understand the meaning? So it is not just one unit, one type of it, but multiple things which are grouped together. So that is a conglomerate. Now this organization MGMH, whatever is that, it is a multinational conglomerate. So it consists of many business units, many businesses under their organization. They are based in Europe, which manufactures. They also they one of the things which is based in Europe is manufacturing tin goods. But otherwise, basically, there are many units in this multinational organization. Now, this tinned goods which are based in Europe, this was acquired by OPLC. So it is not the entire business which was acquired by OO, but it was only that unit which is manufacturing tin goods based in Europe was acquired by OOPLC. Okay, so that was acquired. So the scope part of it, if it is the entire organization, scope is large, but it is only one unit of the organization, the scope is limited. When the scope is limited, it should go. Anyway, we've understood that it is not an incremental growth. The growth is fast. So on acquisition, obviously the growth would be fast, or the change would be fast, not growth. The change would be fast. Now the change is fast, applicable to a limited scope, applicable to a large scope, talks about whether it is revolution or reconstruction. Now, since they are into many businesses across many countries, the one which is based in Europe is only considered for acquisition. Only one unit is considered for acquisition. Therefore, the scope is limited only to tinned goods. Then we go with revolution. Is that clear, Soumya? It's a multinational. Across the globe, they have their businesses in various countries, but the one business which is based in Europe and producing tinned goods. Coming to 156, AVV is a charity which provides education for underprivileged children in country. A recent change in government has led to new legislation which has provided state-funded education for all underprivileged children. The charity has therefore had to rapidly change its core mission to help provide education for underprivileged children throughout the world. This has meant that AVV's management have had to consider drastically new ways of spending the money that raised to support education in countries that they currently have little familiarity with. Although AVV's fundraising efforts have required little change. Which of the following statements regarding the change occurring in AVV are correct? Select all that apply. A. Different stakeholders within ABV may perceive the change as being either a transformation or realignment. The change in legislation is an example of an indirect change trigger for ABV. Why? Why A? Only two to three students only are responding. I don't know what the others are doing. When you solve exam questions, the chance of you getting through the exam in the first instance increases drastically. That is very important. See, I could also have dragged on the subject content and taught you only the from the text, study text and PPT. But then we are taking you through the exam questions. No, why is that you're not participating in that? For your benefit. See, in that the limited time, answering 200 questions is no joke. So, considering the content part of it, the pace part of it, examination oriented questions part of it, for your benefit. Why don't you avail the benefit? A. Different stakeholders within ABV may perceive the changes being either transformation or realignment. The change in legislation is an example of indirect trigger change. That is also right, because it talks about which has provided state fund education for all, and the charity has therefore had to rapidly change its core mission to helping provide education for underprivileged children throughout the world. Therefore, indirect. Then AVV's recent shift in strategy is an example of incremental organization change. AVV's recent could be considered as an example of evolution, as a change has been forced reaction to change in the charity's environment. Should we go with D? C is not incremental, that we understood. Should it be D? Shall we go with D? When it is not incremental, it's an example of evolution also is not right. Right? So D is also ruled out. 157. Which three of the following are elements of an organization's cultural web? Cultural web. Let me put you to that slide so that you can understand once what are the components of cultural web. Stories and myths, symbols, power structure, organization structure, control system, and routines and rituals. Okay, A, C, and E. One 58. Hexagon Limited is a small manufacturing company that makes toys. Mr. Who established the company over 100 years ago. Mr. whose son now Mr. whose son now runs the company. The manufacturing site is in the heart of the city center and still houses some of the original machines used to make toys many years ago. Employees regularly talk about the need for work to be done, how it's always been done. Select the one element of Hexagon's cultural web would best describe the above. Which one would be the right answer? Stories and myths? Yes, how did it was established over 100 years ago? What made them? How did they run the business? So they recollect the stories behind that at the time of starting inception, when it was set up. Those things are a part of the stories and myths. McKinsey's 7S model identifies a number of factors of corporate culture. These include, so the 7S are divided into 3 and 4. 3 talk about the organization as a whole. So they're also termed as hard factors, and then the remaining 3 are soft factors which relate to the employees, the staff. So where do we write them? The first three include the strategy, the structure, and the systems. Strategy, structure, systems. Let's just understand. Let's look at the PPT of Mckinsey 7S. Strategy, systems, and structure are part of the hard factors, the first three factors. Then the remaining four factors are part of the soft factors relating to the employees of the organization. So quickly, let's put these things here. Hard factors. A, staff is a soft factor. So A comes here. B, where will it come? B. C is hard. Structure is hard. Then shared values strategy. E is also hard. Then in between we left B. B is left. Skills comes under soft only. B is soft. C is done. D, shared values, is again soft. They relate to the employees. B is soft. D is also soft. E we wrote under hard. F is also again soft. Then G talks about systems, which is a hard factor. So the ones which relate to the organization, we talk about them as hard factors, and for the employees, what are the factors which relate to the employees part of it? We talk about them as soft factors. So A, B, D, and F come under soft factors. CVV PLC's management adopts an authoritarian style and simply tells staff that they want what they want them to do. CVV's management do not involve staff in their decision-making process. Which one of the following factors from McKinsey's 7S model of corporate culture is being described below? Is it democratic or authoritarian? It's an authoritarian approach. So the style of working is authoritarian style. So D is the answer. AXX PLC operates a chain of supermarkets which is currently undergoing a period of rapid change. AXX has been successful for many years in spite of significant rivalry within its industry. It has pursued a differentiation strategy by having large number of well-trained staff in store to help customers with their shopping needs. Staff pride themselves on the level of service they offer and bonuses are based on the feedback they receive from customers. Staff are typically included in all major management decisions. Recently, AXX has started losing market share to a new rival, ZOZ. ZOZ is a chain of discount supermarkets that charge low prices for a similar range of products to AXX. ZOZ's arrival in the market has coincided with the recent in AXX major markets, which has left consumers with less disposable income. In the last 12 months, AXX sales have fallen by 20% and it is on course to make its first ever loss in the next trading year. AXS has therefore hired a new CEO who previously operated a budget airline. He has immediately started cost cutting exercises with no staff consultation, including significant redundancies and the removal of bonus schemes. He has publicly dismissed employee criticism of his proposals as stupidity. While staff are not heavily unionized, they have close working relationships with each other in most stores, often building friendships outside of the workplace. Which of the following factors are likely to be social factors that will lead to resistance to these changes by AXX employees? Select all that apply. Select all that apply. Let me put that once again. The slide, fear of unemployment is a part of job factor. We are discussing about social factors. The social factors is dislike need to break up current and social environment, personal dislike of people implementing change, lack of consultation leading to rejection of change. So we are only focusing on the social factors. Okay, these three are the answers. Go for a break and come back. Okay, take a break for 10 minutes. Take a break for 10 minutes and then come back. Question number 162 talks about You there, all of you? Okay. QQS is a business that sells gravel and stone. It has recently announced the launch of a new purchasing system, which it has publicly stated will help our business to reduce its inventory management cost by 15% per annum. Employees in the purchasing department of QQS has stated their opposition to the introduction of the new system, as they are convinced that the cost savings will be through job losses within the department. In fact, QQS is planning to make the savings through reduced inventory holding cost thanks to the new system, allowing them to reduce the amount of inventory held at any given time. However, QQS management has yet to explain this to staff. According to Kotter and Sclesinger, which one of the following four reasons for resistance best explains the reaction of QQS purchasing department staff? Why? Communication problems, inadequate information is about misunderstanding. Okay, so you go with A, misunderstanding. This communication problem, it has yet to be communicated something. That reason. 163, Levin's three-stage model of change. Let's continue with the change management. So we've looked at what is the context of change management. What are the triggering factors? What are the types of changes? Okay, those things related to change. What is the concept of change, and the resistance towards change is what we've discussed. Then there is a change which has to be implemented in the organization. How to manage that change? That's the next topic: management of change, change management. So throughout we have all these models given by various people. So we have to discuss them. The conceptually, the models have to be memorized by you. You have to remember what do we have under each of them. Okay, the first one in the order is Levin's ice cube model. So the ice cube model is given for managing the change. How is change managed in the organization? So it's very simple to say that change has to be implemented either at the organization level or for a particular unit level. Is it incremental, rapid, whatever is that we've talked about? Then is it so simple to bring about change? So Levin has given a model called as Ice Cube model. Ice Cube model about how to manage change in the organization. So he's followed a model which gives the first step is unfreeze, change behavior attitudes, and refreeze. Like the ice which is frozen, if the shape has to be changed, it may not be possible to alter the shape of the ice cube directly. It is possible, but it is not such a simple task. So uh, what is considered here is first that ice cube has to be uh, unfrozen, so unfreezed, and then it in an unfrozen condition, it will be converted into water. When it is converted into water, whatever is are the changes which are anticipated or which are expected to be implemented, those changes are made and then again refreeze them according to whatever is the change in the organization structure which is wanted. Whatever change is wanted, according to that it can be refrozen again. So the ice cube model says that unfreeze in terms of the existing behavior, initial level relating to quality of customer service or something. So whatever is the present operational level, at that present operational level, it has to be first unfreeze itself. So there must be some rigidity in the way they are operating. There must be some set models or certain routines which are followed. um, there is a way in which they communicate with the others in within the organization, outside the organization, which may be quite hard, which may be rigid, which may be in a frozen form. So there implementing the changes may not be so very suitable. So in that case, first the rigid methods should be unfrozen. Okay, unfreeze whatever is the present situation, the existing behavior should be relaxed, so it should be unfrozen. After that, whatever are the changes which are to be made, so everything should be easen. Then it should come to a situation where there are no strict rules and regulations to be followed. So in a relaxed environment, then changes should be implemented. So change behavior or attitudes, and then um, standardize that. Okay, freeze it at that particular level. So whatever are the changes which are made in that unfrozen condition, then standardize and make rigid rules according to the new behavior, according to what changes they want to make. So the new behavior, example, new level relating to quality of customer service. So okay, so this is given by Levin, called as Levin's ice cube model about how to manage the change. So when it is not easy, or it is not possible to implement changes in the existing condition. So the existing condition, the rules and regulations, the rigidity should be ease and it should be relaxed. So it should go for unfreezing itself. After that, then change whatever are changes which are expected to be implemented have to be made, have to be brought in, and then after they understand the new level of behavior or changes or which have to be implemented, standardize that and okay, freeze it at that level. Another model which we have to remember is about how managing changes, again given by Levin's force field analysis. It says that if we want to bring about change, we must disturb the equilibrium by strengthening the driving forces and or weakening the restraining forces. So if they are considering about bringing in a change, whatever is the ideal state, now this is the present current state. Now here we see that this is the current state, okay, and then the ideal state. To achieve that ideal thing, there are driving forces which enable them to achieve the ideal state, okay, like a fresh challenge in job, improved rewards, increased job discretion. So there are certain driving forces which enable them to move towards the changed scenario, so the ideal state, the best possible situation. There are certain driving forces, yet at the same time it is not easy that all the factors work towards or they act as driving forces. They enable them to adopt the new changed scenario, the ideal state. It may not be accepted. Now in that case, what are the things which are restraining them, restricting them, not enabling them to adopt, embrace the ideal state, is what we have to consider. So they are called as restraining forces. Okay, so the restraining forces talk about anxiety about job security, change seems less stimulating, fear of loss of power status. So these are the forces which restrain them. So we looked at what are the forces which restrain them from adopting change. We've already discussed in the first slot. So there are factors which do not allow them to embrace the new change, new situation, adopt the new things. But the new situation or the change can be rewarding for the organization. So there are certain factors which enable, which force them to adopt them. Some of them which restrict them to adopt to the new changes. So how to adopt to the new changes? So what should be done? First list out all the, for any new situation where change has to be implemented, so take all the driving forces first. So after the driving forces are understood, what are the factors which are not allowing them? Just step by step, item by item, they have to understand. And then if there is anxiety about job security, then how can this restraining force be converted into driving force, so that they, it is not an issue to deal with. So now if there is anxiety about job security, that has to be dealt accordingly. So maybe some kind of assurance should be provided for the job security part of it. Some required skills should be provided. I mean, they should be given assurance about their job, not losing their job. Those things have to be dealt in the organization. So that restraining force now should be converted into a driving force. So if that is possible by providing some kind of job security to the employees, because the nature of work then would be changed if a change is adopted in an organization. Whatever was their regular work maybe can be considered as maybe it's considered as obsolete and no longer of any importance. If that is the case, definitely there is restrain, there's some kind of restriction from them or some reluctance to change. So in that case, that has to be dealt with. Another one is change seems less stimulating. So they do not feel motivated if there is a change. So some feel that what is it for them if there is a change in the organization. So the advantages of the change should be explained to them. They should be motivating, they should be simulating to the employees, so that whatever are the restraining forces, that can be converted into driving forces. Fear of loss of power or status. Because of the nature of work, they feel that everybody has to depend on that. That's the psychological issue there. See, some of them, they feel motivated when um, many people depend on them for decision making, so their work is of utmost importance. So in that case, if it is if they adopt a change, of the organization undergoes a change, their work may not be of so much relevance, so they may be worried about a loss of power or status and all. So in that case, that also has to be dealt accordingly. So to adopt to the ideal state, the best scenario, the best change from the current state, if they have to move towards the ideal state, then there are certain driving forces and restraining forces. They have to deal with these restraining forces, motivate the employees to adopt to the change and see the benefits out of that. And then, if we want to bring about the change, we must disturb the equilibrium by strengthening the driving forces and weakening the restraining forces. So, if these are the forces which are stopping them, deal with them. The driving forces strengthen them. So, the equilibrium has to be changed. Then only it is not always possible that incrementally they adopt change, move step by step and do that. Okay, so if the change has to be adopted, they must disturb the equilibrium, they must disturb whatever is the present scenario and move towards the ideal situation in that case, or adopt, accept the change in the organization. So strengthen the driving forces, look at what are the driving forces. So they should be motivated to, the employee should be motivated to adopt to the change. Then they can be explained about how beneficial it is to them, and then how their performance is appraised and what rewards can they earn, and then increased job discretion. So explain about the various features of the new job scenario. So strengthen the driving forces. Apart from that, those factors which are restricting them, restraining them from adopting the change, work out on that, make convert these restraining forces into driving forces, weaken the power of, or the force of restraining factors, and then work towards adopting the change. So if they are feeling anxious about their job and they feel that it is they would lose their power, their status, their work, that would not be recognized, maybe they should be explained about their new role, new changes, and what is their importance, how they would be appraised and all. So they have to be motivated, maybe by providing some training which is required to operate in the changed environment, and explain about that the new roles which they will adopt, and then that should be acting as a motivating factor. When they feel motivated, they do not act so much as a restricting factor or restraining factor in the organization, but it becomes possible for them to adopt to the change. There's another model which is given by Kotter and Sclesinger. What are the methods of overcoming resistance? So the method of overcoming resistance, education and communication. Okay. Um, Instead of just adapting to the change and expecting that they adapt to the change scenario, they should be provided some education, and it should be communicated about what is the change all about. Okay, so when the organization takes up a decision to make a change, then that has to be conveyed to the employees of the organization. That's very important. They have to be told about that. Instead of it, if the top management just takes the decisions and just implements them for the organization, instead of doing that, if they um, um, communicate whatever is the new change, whatever is the new policy about new changes about, if they are told, the employees do not have so much of reluctance towards the change. So they have to be provided some information about what is the new method, new system, what are the new changes which are going to be implemented in the organization. um, if that is there, then they also feel motivated. So they should be participated. So maybe their feedback should be collected about what is the new system, and then how feasible is it for their organization, because the employees work at various levels of management in the organization. So if they are allowed to participate in this decision about change management, their feedback is collected, they are allowed to participate in that, then they feel motivated, right? So participation is very important. Asking them to participate in the entire process of change management, uh, then they feel motivated about that. Then we have facilitation and support. Facilitation and support talks about um, there should be support extended from the top management. They should be provided certain um, um, maybe kind of training is provided, or some skill development sessions, or allowing them to adjust to that, and then provide that training which is needed, so that they also feel comfortable about the changed scenario in the organization. So facilitation and support, so there should be support extended to the employees, um, so that they can adopt to the changes. Then we see that manipulation and co-optation. What does it mean, co-optation? What does it mean by co-optation? Anyone there? Taking over, yes, taking over. Okay, convincing them in some way, um, where they are forced to think that yes, this is better for them. Okay, manipulating, or I mean, if in a straightforward method of convincing them, if it doesn't work out in in that case, maybe in some way it is twisted and then expressed or conveyed to the employee, so that they um, can deal with this resistance. So manipulation, co-optation. Then negotiation. Rounds of discussions take place between the management and employees of the organization. When there is resistance from the employees, in that case, they should work out on having various rounds of discussion with them, and then come to some solutions, some conclusion about what should be the right thing which they can adopt it for the organization. Negotiation, rounds of discussion among them. nothing works, then maybe sometimes it is needed that they have to enforce the power, or force them to adopt to the change. That is power of coercion, power or coercion. Coercion is forcefully applying that to them. So the way in which changes can be managed are given as we see that education and communication, they should be provided some education about that, some communication, they should be told about what is it. They should also be allowed to participate, or they feedback from them should be collected, and then they should be provided some support time till they accept it and adjust themselves to that. If it is not in a clear form, it is explained to them. Maybe slightly it has to be manipulated and explained to them, twisted and explained to them. Okay, then rounds of discussion also can be taken place, or it can be imposed on them. Forceful imposition or coercion also can be considered. What is change leadership? Change leadership talks about the change leader takes overall responsibility and control. Control for the change process. So first one is first step for is establish a sense of urgency, helps others to seize the need for change. So first they have to be told about what is it. So when the market is rapidly changing, or the competitors are changing, or technology is overtaking the market, in that case, if they are complacent with them, or if they are satisfied with their present scenario, satisfied with the work conditions, everything, that may not work out. Then if they do not change, then the chance, we've discussed so many times, if they do not change, if they do not adopt to the change, then they may be taken over by the competitors. They can be taken over by the market. In that case, they would be left nowhere. Their organization becomes outdated, obsolete, or out of the competition, out of the market. So then establish a sense of urgency about what is going on in the outside environment, what are the things which are taking place in the among the competitors and in the market, has to be explained. So help others see the need for change. That's the first thing. Hmm. Next, create the guiding coalition. Coalition is, what is coalition? Create the guiding coalition, forming into it says that assemble a team with enough power. So maybe the people in the organization, or within the organization, or with some others, they can form into a team with enough power to control the change process. So creating the guiding coalition, they come together, they form into a team and work towards the change management. So assemble a team with enough power to control the change process. That's the second step, creating the guiding coalition. Then third one talks about develop a change vision. Develop a change vision, create an overall vision of the future. So what would happen if they adopt to the changes? Then what will happen? What they have to foresee that. Okay, so that is very important. Like they already were planning for their organization. So the plans for the short term, medium term, long term were there. But then after the changes are implemented in the organization, then in that case, what will happen has to be understood. So developer, then they have to develop a change vision. So they have to foresee what would happen in the changed environment. So this has to be communicated to the employees of the organization about what is this change and where would they stand. Now, then when they go for changes, like for example, if they adopt automation, then they can understand that maybe they can capture the market, or this sales will increase, or they will be able to cater to the customers' needs, or efficiency can be achieved, or cost can be cut down, things like that. So, what are the things which are possible for them to achieve? That has to be foreseen. So they have to create an overall vision of the future. So they have to develop a change vision. So till now, whatever was the vision, mission, vision which they have decided at the time of establishment of the organization, after that, once they change it, they also have to develop a change vision. So create an overall vision of the future. Then communicate the vision to the employees. So within the organization, it has to be communicate vision and strategies to maximize buy-in. Maximize buy-in is um, approval. Buy-in is talking about approval. So their participation has to be taken into consideration. Communicate the vision and strategies. When they communicate that, it may not be acceptable to various levels of employees in the organization. People in the organization, they may not agree with that. Either they do not understand it, or they do not want to adopt to the change scenario. So communicate what benefits can be achieved with the changes. Therefore, once this is communicated to them, in that case, uh, they will come out with their feedback. So that feedback also should be considered, and then rounds of discussion, negotiation should take place between them, and then finally maximize the buy-in, maximize the approval. Buy-in is acceptance or approval. So once a new vision is developed, that vision has to be communicated. So when it is communicated, yes, definitely opinions come forward in terms of the feasibility, the suitability for their organization, the possibility of implementing. Because the people who are involved in implementing these new changes, their feedback is very important. So after that, they should accept on most of them, major, maximize the buy-in. Then we see that empower broad based action. The next one, among these 8 steps, we are in the next step. It says that empower broad based action, remove obstacles to change and encourage staff. So, if there are any obstacles to change and encourage staff, so the resistance from the employees, that has to be dealt. Then training has to be provided. It has to be properly communicated. Then whatever are the inhibitions from the employee side, those have to be dealt with, worked on, and they have to remove obstacles to change and encourage the staff to embrace change. Okay, so empower broad based action, empower them, explain them, tell about the benefits out of that. Okay, if there are any inhibitions, obstacles, restrictions, restrain attitude from them, that has to be dealt with, right? The next one is generate short-term wins. Okay, plan for interim achievements that can be made visible, then publicize and reward staff members involved. So instead of waiting for a long period of time to see the objective being achieved, then in that instead of that, make it in such a way that the the immediate course of action should be rewarded. It says that plan for interim achievement. So in between. So if a set of target is achieved, instead of waiting for a long period of time for the things to be achieved, so maybe they can convert them into short-term plans and then um, reward them, publicize and reward staff members who are involved in that. So, by adopting a change, let's say that in case of overhead accounting, instead of the traditional accounting system, maybe they are following a activity based approach. So, what is the benefit of um, appropriately charging the overhead cost and deciding the selling price can be explained. Once that is explained, they can show that what impact did this ABC technique has on the profitability, how were their costs appropriately charged and the selling price decided, something like that. Then they can look at what is the impact of pricing the product appropriately. Is there any impact on sales, or how are their costs accounted appropriately and have cost control on that. I think that can be looked into and that can be explained to them. So, like that, for every aspect, they should be looking into that, and then instead of waiting for the long period of time, they should be able to identify what are the benefits out of that. So, at various steps, maybe they can explain this to the employees about what is the benefit of adopting to the new changes. Okay. The next one is never let up. Maintain the change process, hiring, promoting, and developing staff who support the changes. So never let up. It talks about maintain the change process. So consistency, consistency in accepting it. So drastically, radically, overnight things may not work out for the organization, but consistency, if they follow that, maintaining the change process, hiring, promoting, and developing staff who support the changes. So then that change vision should be continued. Accordingly, they have to hire, promote, and develop staff who support the changes. Is my voice clear or is it breaking anywhere? Is it breaking? Because the message is showing unstable internet connection. Is it breaking? You should tell me if it is breaking. You should tell me where. Then I will change the connection, because not all connections all the time are okay. Then the last step talks about incorporate into culture, continuously reinforce change and communicate and ach- rewards or achievement of the objective. So incorporate into culture. They have to incorporate into culture. So consistently, if they follow that, then it is adapted into the system. So then it is incorporated into their work culture. So incorporate into culture about the changes which they have reinforced, continually reinforce change and communicate and also reward them if anyone has achieved the targets based on the changes in the organization. So um, continuously they have to be following the new changes. The employee should be rewarded, motivated. All this has to be done in an organization. Let's do one or two questions. Too much of theory also going on and on. Okay. Let's just go to the questions. Maybe the remaining time, let's work out one or two questions. Because everything is related to change. So we are share. What was the last one we've done? 162 was last. We have to do 163. Tomorrow also we have 3 hours class. So this remaining part of change management will be done in the first half, including the MCQs also. So the half, second 1 hour session, I'll start with what is digital strategy. And then I think we should be finishing it by Friday, including the MCQs. It should be done by Friday. So we will have 2 days left in that 40-hour slot. So once we have those 4 hours time, 2 hours on Monday and Tuesday, so then we will look at what are the questions which are given there on the CMA, CIMA website. Okay, if you have already those questions, you can also post it to me, share it with me, any specific questions which you have identified or which you've already downloaded. You can do that. Maybe I will also look into that. I'm little busy on my schedule, therefore I didn't even look into what are the questions there. So if you have downloaded material, any one of you, you can please post it to me. Okay, let's see 163. One or two questions we'll do and we'll end it in today's class. Delaware Limited is about to go through a significant restructuring. The strategic change involves moving from a decentralized to a centralized structure. This will help Delaware avoid duplication of support activities and lower its costs. The management have held the first staff briefing in which they went to great lengths to explain that the change was necessary to equip the company to face future competitive challenges. Which one stage of Levin's three-stage model are of change are Delaware currently within? 163. You're doing 163. How many stages are there in this three-stage model? There are only 3 stages: unfreeze, change, and refreeze. There's no reinforcement. So among these three alternatives, which one are we talking about? So is it unfreeze, refreeze, or change? So Samya has given unfreeze. Um, they are still discussing about moving from decentralized to decentralized. So they are still considering about adopting to a change. So is about to go through a significant reason, about to go through. So they are still in the initial phase. So the answer for this one will be unfreeze. Yes. Others have disappeared. We'll see 164. Okay, 11 sports field model. Done. XA is a vehicle rental company. The company operates 35 vehicle rental depots, each with its own staff and fleet of vehicles. Staff are very focused on providing well-maintained, clean vehicles for rental. Many staff have worked for XA for many years, and most started their career as vehicle technicians. In recent years, XA has been losing market share. In response to this, the business has developed a new mission statement. XA aims to be the first choice vehicle rental company by providing well-maintained vehicles at an affordable price and excellent customer service. This is the first new mission produced by XA in many years and differs from the previous mission statement in that it includes the phrase and excellent customer service. In order to improve customer service levels, the marketing director has told the marketing manager that she must change the marketing approach from transactions marketing to relationship marketing. Jay is concerned about overcoming resistance to this change as she has never implemented a major change program. So much of content. Jay has analyzed the various factors that might influence the success of the proposed change using Levin's force field model. These factors are dash. So then the question further goes, for each of the above factors, identify whether they are driving or restraining factors. D will write it as driving, R will write it as restraining in Levin's force field model by placing the appropriate uh, letters into the table below because we cannot see the screen simultaneously. Next to that only we'll write either D or R for each of them, whether A is driving or restraining. So please tell me which one is driving, which one is restraining. A is driving or restraining. Okay, you went to G. Okay, G is restraining. Loss of market share is restraining. Okay, A is restraining. Okay, okay. Soumya, your point of G, let's discuss that G part of it. In recent years, XA has been losing market share. So since they are losing market share, they have to take up something to see that their market share is not lost. They gain back their market share. So they were selling products to the customers. So if they are losing market share, they have to adopt to the change so that they can get back their market share. If they change, if they lose their market, is it talks about a restraining restricting factor, but here this is the force which is driving them for them to adopt to the change. Therefore G becomes a driving force. Now, if customers are not coming to them, then they have to be doing something so that they can get back their customers to buy them. Okay, therefore G is D. A, what is it? A is the existing product oriented culture. The present culture, definitely that culture doesn't allow them to adopt to the so this should be an R. I'm really sorry. This should be a restraining factor. Many staff have worked for XA for many years, and most started their career as vehicle technicians. So there is a culture which is prevalent there in the organization. Many of them are for years together. So the existing product oriented culture will act as a restraining factor. B. B talks about the length of service by staff is also again because they are used to working in a particular style of organization, right? Then the marketing director. What's the role of marketing director? Just look at that. The marketing director has told the marketing manager that she must change the marketing approach from transactions marketing to relationship marketing. Relationship marketing was focusing on the product. Transactions marketing, sorry, transaction marketing was focusing on the product. Relationship marketing is focusing on the customer, isn't it? The relationship with the customer is the focus there. So marketing director is motivating that they change from the conventional method to. So this is driving force. Marketing director is a driving force. What's the new mission statement? Let's see what's the new mission statement. XA aims to be the first choice vehicle rental company by providing well-maintained vehicle rental. Um, this is the first new mission produced by XA in many years and differs from the previous mission statement in that it includes and excellent customer service. So here they are also focusing towards excellent customer service. So D is a driving force. Yes. Then E, staff background in vehicle maintenance. They are conventional ones. They are only, they've started their career as vehicle technicians and they've been there for a very long period of time. So they are not, I mean, they're not willing to change. And the other things also restraining. F is J's competencies with relationship marketing. Marketing manager is J. J's relationship with competencies with relationship marketing. Jay is concerned about overcoming resistance to this change. So he's concerned. He's not welcoming the change, but he's concerned about overcoming resistance to this change, as she has never implemented a major change program. So this is also restricting. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last 3-hour class. Okay. Having 3 hours for a theory class is quite hectic for both the parties. It's not only, I'm not saying that it is only from my side, but for you also sitting for